Carousel of Life, Day 20, Hamsters. A Miraculous Ladybug fanfiction written based on the Adrianette April 2019 daily prompts. If you missed any of the previous chapters, check out the description box for links, or click on the card in the upper right corner for the playlist. Enjoy the chapter!
Princess, we're friends, aren't we?
Marinette gave Cat Noir a quizzical look. They hadn't actually talked that many times while she was Marinette, so she wasn't sure if friends was an apt term for their relationship at this point. Yet she had told him they could be friends after the Weredad incident.
I suppose we are.
Cat Noir balanced on her balcony rail tightrope style, heel to toe, arms outstretched.
And friends confide in each other, right?
Marinette inspected her partner. He seemed as happy-go-lucky as usual, but the last time he'd come to her balcony like this, he had been feeling down.
Is something bothering you, Cat Noir?
Oh, no, nothing, he answered flippantly, before seeming to reconsider his answer. He sat on the rail facing her and let his defenses fall.
Well, okay. Yes.
Do you want to talk about it? His ears flattened.
Only if you don't mind.
Of course I don't mind. Do you drink tea? Marinette flourished a hand at her tea set. Or maybe it's not okay if someone sees you here with me. Do you want to come inside?
Sure, Princess,
Cat Noir said with an eager expression that indicated this was exactly the response he'd been hoping for. Once they had climbed through the trapdoor and down from Marinette's bed, Cat Noir sprawled on the chaise longue, reclining with over-exaggerated drama.
Your patient is ready, he joked.
Marinette pulled up her desk chair and sat in it, cross-legged. She didn't play along with Cat Noir's act. What's going on, kitty cat? And why can't you talk to Ladybug about it?
Well...
Cat Noir straightened up, becoming serious.
Actually, it's about Ladybug.
Oh? Marinette tried not to let it show how personal this subject was for her.
Well, you see, I've been in love with her for 2 years, ever since we met.
Cat Noir gazed to the side, and the starry-eyed expression that crossed his face for just a moment was only too familiar.
But I think I've finally come to terms with the fact that nothing will ever come of it. She's rejected me over and over. I had hoped that the more she got to know me, she'd end up falling for me too. But nothing has changed for 2 years. Even if she did reciprocate my feelings, we're not supposed to reveal our identities, so...
He shrugged.
I'm losing hope. It's like running around on a hamster wheel. Besides,
his eyes lit up.
There's someone else I've been getting closer to.
Cat Noir smiled at Marinette with a soft, earnest expression that she had rarely seen before on him.
Really?
She asked.
Who? You think I'd tell you, Princess?
Cat Noir grinned and winked.
All I can say is that she's a wonderful person, and I really like her.
That's good to hear, Cat Noir. She gave him a bright smile. A blush was barely visible under his mask.
She likes me back, too. It's just, I'm not fully over Ladybug. I'd hate to ruin things with this other girl, and I want to give her what she deserves. So, I know I need to get over Ladybug.
Oh, Marinette blinked. This was new and a little surreal. Cat Noir's love for Ladybug had seemed like a constant in her life, and she wasn't sure how she felt about losing that, as selfish as that seemed. But this development definitely wasn't a bad thing. He was moving on. She really was happy for him. He'd proven to her again and again that he was loyal and trustworthy, and he deserved to be happy. So, how can I help you, Cat Noir?
Well, there's a problem,
he admitted. He sighed and grabbed a pillow off the chaise longue, hugging it to his chest as if seeking comfort from it. Marinette's eyes widened in curiosity and alarm. What's the problem?
Well, when we fight Akumas, Ladybug is the important one between us.
No, she's not, Marinette cut in. You're both important.
I mean, I know, we're a team, but almost every time her lucky charm is the key to winning, and she's the only one who can cleanse the Akuma. So my role is pretty much just distracting the opponent and keeping her safe. I'm not being self-deprecating, those are just the facts.
Marinette nodded. She wasn't happy about him shoving himself to the side, but she had to acknowledge that he was right.
The problem is, it's hard for me to see it as just a job.
Cat Noir crushed the pillow in his arms, looking miserable.
When I take an Akuma attack for her, I always have this intense feeling, like my life doesn't matter as long as she's safe. I trust that she knows what to do, and I feel like I'm laying my life at her feet, completely at her mercy. Like dying would be okay, because soon I'd be back once she beat the Akuma and set everything straight. But even if I did die for good protecting her, it would be a worthy death, because I love her that much.
He paused, brow knit in thought.
Though, that idea scares me because if she didn't win, that would mean Hawkmoth did, and I wouldn't be around to make sure she was okay. Only, I'm not too worried about that happening, because I know she wouldn't give up trying to save the day, to save me, no matter how hard it got, because she'd never put her own doubts or comfort in front of other people's lives. She's a real hero with a heart as big as the sea, and she's smart and amazing enough to actually win every time. I really trust her. Sometimes I feel bad for putting so much pressure on her, but that's just the truth of the matter.
Marinette's mouth had fallen open at some point during Cat Noir's rambling monologue, and she lunged forward to hug him. It was just as much to hide her face, as the tears leaking down her cheeks threatened to reveal just how much his words had affected her, as it was to comfort him. Inwardly, she vowed to fight that much harder not to let him down.
"What's this for, Princess?"
Cat asked in a warm, fond tone that indicated he couldn't tell she was crying. Marinette tried not to give herself away by sniffling, and whispered into his hair, "Cat Noir, you're every bit a hero as she is. I'm sure Ladybug would be really touched to hear all this." She furtively wiped her eyes with the back of one hand before pulling back. Cat Noir sighed.
"It's been 2 years, and I don't exactly make it a secret how I feel."
The words were like a knife twisting in Marinette's heart. At first, she thought he was joking, since the flirting had begun on their very first day as partners, but over the years she had slowly begun to understand just how serious he was. It made her feel horrible for hurting him, which was the last thing she wanted to do, but she also didn't want to lead him on with Adrien in the picture. Rejecting him seemed to be the lesser of two evils. She steered the conversation back into friend helping a friend waters. "You wanted to explain the problem with trying to get over Ladybug?"
"Yeah. Well, you see, when I have to protect her in battle, I can't help but thinking and feeling all of that. And trying to kill this feeling makes it almost impossible to function in battle. One part of me just wants to burn out for her, just expend every last bit of strength to keep her safe. But the other half is saying, you don't feel that way for her, she's just a friend, this is just your duty. I feel like I'm splitting in half, like, what's that psychological term? Cognitive dissonance? How do you risk your life for someone you don't love with all of your being?"
He heaved a tortured sigh.
"What should I do? I don't want to go back to this endless cycle of pining after Ladybug. It hurts and it's depressing. I really want to make it work with the other girl, but I can't let it affect my duty as Cat Noir."
He looked at Marinette imploringly.
"I'm beginning to think the only solution is to give up my ring."
"No!" Marinette cried. "No need to be extreme. You can't do that." Cat Noir looked absolutely lost.
"What should I do then? Help, Princess!"
"Cat?" It pained her to see him looking so crushed. She sat down on the chaise-longue beside him, putting a hand on his shoulder. "You know, you don't have to stop loving Ladybug." As if he had heard a "yet" tacked on to the end of her statement, Cat Noir protested,
"I know I can't do it overnight, but..."
"No, I mean, you never have to," Marinette said firmly. "Not all love is romantic, you know?"
"What do you mean?"
Cat Noir blinked.
"Sorry, I feel emotionally dumb."
"I mean, think of it this way. Do you think you'd have to stop loving your family just because you got a girlfriend?" Cat Noir rubbed his chin, thinking.
"Okay, I see your point."
"I'm sure Ladybug loves you too." Noticing the way Cat Noir's eyes hardened in disbelief, Marinette rushed to qualify. Maybe not in the romantic sense that you've been hoping for, but I've seen footage of how she reacts when you get hit. Like that time you took a blow from Timebreaker for her and you started to disappear. It's not just a job for her either. She cares about you. She loves you, and she loves Paris. Why do you think she doesn't give up? Cat Noir nodded slowly, mulling over her words. Maybe that feels intense for her too. Marinette gauged his response. He seemed to be taking this well. Even if you like another girl and want to pursue her romantically, you shouldn't feel bad that you still love Ladybug, okay? It's one thing to give up on trying to find out who she is or date her, but that doesn't mean you have to stop loving her. Maybe if you can accept that, it won't hurt as much. Cat Noir was looking at her with childlike awe, as if she'd done a superhuman feat.
Wow, I never thought about it that way.
Marinette smiled and patted his arm affectionately. Did that help at all?
It did, actually. Thanks, Marinette.
He beamed.
So, enough about me. How have you been lately, Princess?
Marinette's smile grew, thinking about Adrien. The way it had grown so easy to chat with him about any topic in between classes. The way they held hands. The texts they'd been exchanging all day. Really great, actually. Funny coincidence. I've been getting closer to someone too. Someone I've liked for a long time. I can't believe I'm this lucky. Cat Noir took her hand, seemingly about to kiss it, but instead he nuzzled it with his cheek like a real cat.
You deserve it, Princess. You're one of the most awesome people I know.
She laughed and squeezed his hand. Thanks, kitty. You're gonna be okay. Don't worry. I hope this other girl makes you happy.
She really does.
Cat Noir was quick to answer, eyes shining. He gave Marinette a friendly peck on the cheek.
Thank you so much, Princess. I knew I could count on you for top-notch advice.
That's Dr. Dupenchang to you. Marinette winked playfully. Cat Noir laughed.
Well, I gotta get going. Superhero things to do, you know. People to save. Thanks for inviting me in.
Marinette snorted at his bravado. What are friends for? Come anytime. On a whim, Ladybug went out that afternoon, wondering if Cat Noir was still out and about. He seemed to spend much more time in the suit than she did, even when there wasn't an Akuma around. She didn't have to look long or hard. She caught him bounding across rooftops between Notre Dame and the Louvre. Hurling her yo-yo, she caught up with him with a deep swing that ended in an exhilarating launch through the air. She landed a few paces behind him, and he turned with a grin as if he'd been expecting her. His cat senses had probably tipped him off to her approach. Hey, Cat. Fancy seeing you out here. She couldn't help but look at him with newfound fondness.
Ladybug.
Ladybug socked him in the shoulder. No need to be so formal. He was probably trying to stop calling her Milady in consideration for that other girl he'd talked about, but the nickname had grown on Ladybug and she wasn't ready for it to disappear from their banter. We've been partners for a long time, Cat Noir. We're entitled to our inside jokes, aren't we? The smirk spread slowly across Cat Noir's features.
I guess you're right as always, milady.
Suddenly, his expression sobered.
Hey, Albie, can I ask you something?
What?
Do you love me?
As Ladybug opened her mouth to respond, he backpedaled.
Not romantically or anything. I'm not trying to flirt with you, honest. I just want to know if I'm important to you. Like, would you miss me if I disappeared? Would you be sad if something happened to me?
Ladybug chuckled and poked his nose. Of course, silly cat. Yes, I love you. Don't you dare go disappearing. The way Cat Noir smiled back at her, like she'd hung the stars, brought a surge of affection in her chest toward her partner. At that moment, it struck her how grateful she was that he was her Cat Noir. Hi everyone, I hope you enjoyed Chapter 20 of Carousel of Life. We're 2/3 of the way through. Thank you so much to everyone who's been listening up until now. I love you all. See you next time.